Welcome to Black People Love Paramore, a podcast not about the band Paramore, but a show about the common and uncommon interests of Black people in order to help the community feel a bit more seen. I'm your host, Sequoia, and today, joining me to talk about Love is Blind Season 7, we have television writer, stand-up comic, and actor, as well as my fiance, Garrick Bernard.
Hey, it's me. It's your boy. It's your boy. We live.
We watched this season together, naturally.
Yeah.
So we have thoughts, and we thought that we would bring them to you directly following finishing the reunion.
So many thoughts.
Yes, so many thoughts. So I have my phone here. If the audio is bad, it's because we have a real little makeshift bootleg set up. I'm not set up to record podcasts in real life with people yet. I need to figure that out. But okay, let's just get straight to it, I feel. Here I have the list of the cast, and we will start with the important ones. So the ones toward the end, not, everybody in the pod in the beginning. Garrett is the first one on this list.
Me.
His partner is Taylor. Is that her name?
I don't know.
I believe her name is Taylor. Garrett and Taylor.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of online discourse. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's been a whole bunch of online discourse about Garrett in the pods realizing that Taylor wasn't white and kind of having some hesitation around that. Taylor was like, yeah, I haven't said much about my ethnicity, blah, blah. And Garrett was like, oh, almost as though he hadn't considered that she might be something that wasn't white.
Yeah.
And he was like, he had some hesitation about dating someone who wasn't white. I didn't feel anyway. I will say I wasn't watching mad closely at this point, so I actually don't remember this point. This is all gathered through online discourse. I didn't really, if he simply had some hesitation about dating someone who wasn't white, I really don't feel that much of a way about it.
Yeah.
Because
it also, the way that he was reacting, it's almost like he was shocked, not at the fact that her ethnicity was not white, but that he assumed that she was white based off of her voice. Yeah. And he was just maybe I should check a bias or something.
I could see that. Yes.
He was like, oh God. Yeah, why did I just assume that this person was white?
Right. Yeah, he definitely has some hesitation. I guess we're assuming that the hesitation was that he didn't want to date someone who's not white, but maybe he was just stunned. That. And that brings me to fucking Taylor, because y'all have been on the internet being absolutely weird to me.
About Taylor?
They're saying that she's white passing. I told you this.
That's weird.
They're saying she's white passing. There's nothing about Taylor that is white passing.
Do people feel like Olivia Munn is white passing?
I could even see the argument for Olivia Munn better than Taylor. And I don't see the argument for Olivia Munn. And Olivia Munn is not a white person. Yeah. When I look at her, I might be confused. I don't see necessarily an Asian person. Yeah. But I'm like, not a white person. Don't know what you are. But
yeah. I would assume that for the first time I saw Olivia Munn, I was like, yeah, this is probably some maybe half white, half Asian. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I saw Taylor and I was like, oh, this is a very Munn-esque lady.
She is kind of Munn-esque, huh? Yeah, I hadn't really noticed that, but yes, she
leaning is. More to the Asian side, I would say.
Wow. That's a good that's a good call out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all are being weird. Taylor's not white passing.
No.
She's Asian.
Do you I mean,
she is half white, but she doesn't if you had to tell me that she was half white, I just thought that she was.
What were they saying were they saying white passing as in her personality or what?
They said that
if you look at her,
because Garrett had hesitation about dating someone who wasn't white, everybody was paying close attention to their reveal.
Yeah, but
when he saw her, he felt okay because she was white passing, is what people are saying.
Oh, all of that is moot if Garrett was just assuming that somebody was white, and when she said that she wasn't, was ashamed at the fact that
he felt weird. That he had assumed that.
Yeah.
And then the only other note I have about Garrett is his glow up. Oh, I have two notes about Garrett. His glow up, I do see that he is dressing better. I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh, boy. She does not think that he is attractive, which is weird.
I genuinely just don't.
You don't think that? I don't want to say attractive. I want to say handsome.
I don't think he's handsome. I just don't see it personally, but that's rude. That's neither here nor there. But what I do commend him for is at that fucking reunion, when they were trying to jump on Nick, he said,
no.
He said, this is immature. I can't wait till we move past this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. Thank you. You're the only one. You're the only one, Nick.
Because
Garrett.
He's a quantum physicist. Like that's what he. I feel like all of matter is childish to him.
Probably, right? He's like, there's no scientific backing to any of this.
Yeah.
Y'all just on here running your mouth.
Running your mouth.
Where's the formula?
Yeah, there's no what is it? Scientific method.
They just say, yeah, there's no scientific method. We're just going. Okay, next man I have on here is Leo.
Very funny.
Leo, the art dealer. Leo, the Aries. Funny enough.
Mm-hmm.
What was Garrett's sign? A Taurus. That tracks. That definitely tracks.
I don't see how, but sure.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Leo, the Aries. The issue with Leo was that he kept bringing up his money.
Yeah.
In the pods, and everybody was like, "Oh, here you go, talking about how you don't want to be seen for your money." But every conversation you have in the pods and back in the dorms with the men, you're talking about money. Your money.
Yeah, Leo was. He seemed young. I don't know why he got on this show to begin with.
And he's not that damn young. He's 31.
Yeah, maybe he's not that young. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Of course he's not. Maybe. Of course he's not that young. But it definitely feels like his personality is a lot younger, or like he might have been pampered for a good amount of his life to the point where the conclusions that he draws are a little bit younger than a 31-year-old.
Okay.
Because he's such a rich person.
Remember when all his family died?
Yeah, it's really
so
sad.
like he's an only child. He's like, he don't have nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that is like challenging to what your theory about him about being taken care of and all that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's very much like a choice. Like you could choose with that amount of money. You could choose to grow up or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. That's very fair.
And it seems like
he chose not to.
He chose not to.
But you know what? His his what is that other word?
Demeanor?
No. Redeeming. Ooh, demeaning and redeeming?
Wow.
I never realized how close those were.
They're very close together.
His redeeming quality is how he's handled this entire situation on social media afterward.
Yeah, he's been very mature about it.
He's been very mature about it.
I think he just didn't know how he would come across on camera.
Definitely.
And then also 100%. How things would cut together.
100%.
Where it's just like, oh God, I keep on having to introduce the fact that I have money to people after whatever situation. And if I'm bringing that up to several, because people don't really hold into account all of the things that they say multiple times to different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yeah.
If I say I'm a comedian, and I'm going around to a party, which is basically what it is, or a house party, which is basically what the pods were. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, yeah, I'm a comedian. Yeah, I'm a comedian. Yeah, I'm a comedian. And it's just for him, it's just yeah, I was left with a lot of money and I'm an art dealer. Yeah, I was left with a lot of money and I'm an art dealer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was left with a lot. So I understand why he brought it up so much. What I don't understand is why he tried to pretend as though money, he was looking for somebody that wasn't after his money, and then
bringing money on time. That's right. No, that's the whole thing. Yeah. His whole situation with Brittany and Hannah.
Brittany.
We'll get to Hannah, of course. But you remember Brittany?
Yes.
His whole situation where he didn't want to be with Brittany, wanted to be with Hannah. Yeah. And then Hannah wanted to be with somebody else, and then he tried to come back to be with Brittany again. Mm-hmm.
Hannah wanted to be with Nick.
Yeah. And he threw a whole fit about.
Yeah. And that's the spoiled childness of it. Where it's just I'm an only child and I had everything. And the fact that I'm getting rejected right now is really, really killing.
He couldn't hold that rejection to save his life.
Can't take an L.
Yeah, could not take an L to save his life.
The way that he was talking about it at the reunion, where he was just I shouldn't have thrown that temper tantrum. The fact that I tried to pretend like it was mutual when clearly it wasn't. It just when I was watching it back, it was very embarrassing and all of that. I don't think that he knows what he looks like on camera.
That's what he said. That's what he's been saying on social. He's been oh, you think you're doing stuff that's cute or whatever, and then you watch it back and you're like,
yikes. If my face does that. Also, he's probably in his, when he was throwing his temper tantrum, he's probably thinking he was an R&B singer,
very much on the ground,
doing body rolls on the floor. And in actuality, he just had a still serial killer stone face.
Look like a petulant child.
Yeah,
literally throwing a fit on the floor, having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Because somebody is not giving you your way right now. After you did something that warranted them not giving you your way.
Right.
I will say, Nick reads immature to me. So when Hannah kept saying, "Oh, you're so immature," like, yeah. I'm like, yes, he does read immature to me.
But not that much.
But not like, not that much. And I watched this video from this therapist on YouTube, and she like kind of broke down the entire Nick and Hannah situation. And she was saying Nick has a lot more emotional maturity because like he's often being like, correcting or confronting her directly. Like he's like, "Oh, I saw you write this list about, I saw this list about stuff you don't like about me. Like, you really think I'm delusional?" Like, like confronting her directly, like trying to communicate or whatever. And she just was just critical, and he was able to bring forth his feelings and tell her the way that things made him feel. She doesn't have that capability.
No.
So while he is immature in like the usual sense that we're used to referring to people's maturity, he definitely had her bested when it came to emotional maturity. Duh.
Yeah.
Because she was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's another one that just couldn't take it out at all.
She
there's a whole host of things wrong with Ellie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the fact that he just lived at home. And then she just kept on like throwing that back in his face because she was just so jealous that he was allowed to live at home.
Yeah. Because I didn't even realize that she said her parents cut her off when she was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you're absolutely jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, I had to make it out on my own. It's just like, but you didn't make anything of yourself, to be honest.
Right.
You kind of are just around and you're on a reality TV show and you quit your job and you got an agent and then you also blamed him for trying to get famous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, all right, so because there is physical evidence of this guy saying
like explicitly saying those words.
Yeah. But your actions are
just as loud. But you quit your job to go on Love Is Blind.
Yeah.
And it was such a big
deal.
You
got an agent and you moved.
And you got an agent and you moved. It's like to the point where even in the pod, you had to tell Nick and who was the other man she was up to? Leo. You had to tell Nick and Leo, hey, it's going to take a minute for me to like, are we going to be okay financially because I don't have a job? Like, when we leave here, it's going to take a minute for me to find another job.
I think that she quit her job to be on the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, that wasn't like I'm doing this because this is my ticket out of here. Mm-hmm. I think she couldn't take that amount of time off because she was like a barista. That's
100%. No, she wasn't. She was a medical device salesperson.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right? So like, she had a real job. It's not like she didn't have a real job. But yeah, no, she couldn't take that amount of time off, and so she had to quit.
Yeah.
Which I feel like most of us would have to do
most people
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm sure more than one person quit their job to go on that season of Love and Blind, but she said it out loud.
Right.
So then to turn around and act like Nick was doing something crazy by writing down 3 months before he knew he was going to be on the show.
Yeah, and then also like just kind of writing down goals they're always lofty. Yeah. They're always random. They're always like, I would love to have 3 to 5 cars.
Right.
Or I would love to have, I would love to have $2 billion.
Right.
And then you write that down and then somebody is just like, so you're just after this for the money or whatever. You're just trying to get rich off of this thing that you're
claiming to love or claiming to actually be doing for a different reason. It's like, obviously I would love the best case scenario and I'm writing down the best case scenario, but like, I'm expecting to go on here and find love like every fucking body else or whatever. Like, cool, I'm hoping to go on here,
Yeah, and then also if I don't. Like, like everybody else is everybody comes into this scenario. Like, for the love of God, I need for people on this show to just take into account that you guys have known each other for 2 weeks.
Literally 3 seconds. You don't know.
We gotta be more real with the situation that is at hand. Because for you to say, we're all on this experiment for this reason, we're all doing this to actually find love. Shut up. No, you're not.
No, you're not. Mostly all aren't. Yeah.
You're on Netflix. You're not going to stop assuming or stop assuming that the audience is dumb. Stop assuming that, or stop telling yourself that you're not about to be on the most popular platform on the globe. For you to assume that nobody else has this idea in their head that they're going to get on off of being on Love is Blind is so silly and so like naive almost.
I don't even feel like anybody has that expectation.
No,
anymore.
It's like tangential. It's like it's a given. Like where everybody's gonna watch this show and then everybody's gonna know who you are for a time.
Yeah. By season 7, you know that when you sign up to go on the show.
Right. Like that's what anybody does.
That's what anybody does. Silly.
It's really silly. And then also going back to the whole like, oh my God, you were my person. It's like you knew each other for 2 weeks. You don't know each other.
You have not been through no hardship. Like you don't know this person. Yeah,
this is essentially an arranged marriage.
Right.
And for you to say that you were so incredibly hurt by this scenario or by this person after they did this and after I put up with so much from you, and it's like, so how much took place?
The drama. Do you feel like Hannah was abusive, or do you feel like Hannah was? I think like, what did you use a different word? Like what did you feel?
She was like, I don't want to say verbally abusive. Yeah, I guess. Verbally abusive.
Like emotionally
abusive to where it's just like you're not much.
Literally, she's demeaning.
You're a little dummy.
Yeah.
We're not on the intellectual.
That part where she told him, I taught you everything that you know as a man.
Yeah. It's like
in 2 weeks. Bitch.
In 2 weeks?
Like, what are you talking about?
I would, in that moment, I would have been like, how do you tie a tie?
Or anything.
Like how does a tie, like, do you know how to, like, change a tire or anything like that? Because I feel like the only thing that we have on record, I guess, is the pasta thing. Right?
And the financial literacy.
And it's just, like, talking about stocks and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, your 401k and all of that is set up so that you can have a cushion when you retire. And sure, people will put money into stocks and bonds in order to, like, invest in their futures. But a lot of people will do that and then not know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or not
100%.
know the intricacies,
the intricacies of it. You just, like, put the money there.
Yeah, it's just like,
and
this
it's like, hope that does something.
Yeah, I'm investing.
Right,
cool. So I forget it is gambling.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a job.
Right. You're a brokey.
Yeah.
You're a brokey.
What else?
That, like Lotto said.
Yeah.
That's you.
That's you.
That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I got a roof over my head regardless, babe.
Yeah.
You might be out on the street, but not me.
Yeah.
My family gonna take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, Hannah was abusive to me. Just emotionally abusive.
Yeah.
It was just hard to watch over and over. It was hard to watch. There was a clip that they played at the reunion where, like, Nick is confronting her about something and his voice is shaking as he's, like, talking to her because he's fucking nervous.
He's nervous. He's scared.
She's like a shark.
Yeah. Like,
circling him. Like, she smells fear. She smells blood. And she's, like, going to attack.
And it's so weird that your partner would shake whenever talking to you, because then it's just like, I'm always on the defense because I don't know what you're going to say back to me that's going to hurt my feelings. And then also, as a man, you're not trying to bring up any form of quote unquote weakness. You're not trying to seem weak or small in any way, shape, or form. And so whenever he was, like, talking, he's trying to be, I guess, like a big boy, and, like, be able to say, hey, this thing hurt my feelings. Why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? And knowing that she's not going to be able to have any form of compassion. That was the wild thing. She lacked all compassion for him.
She did. She really did.
Like, whenever somebody says something is hurting their feelings, for you to then throw that back at them and say you shouldn't have even had your feelings hurt is wild.
Yeah.
Like, what is even happening?
there was that point where he's like trying to tell her, what was it? Oh God. He's like, oh, you don't treat me like an equal. Like, we're not equals. Like, you belittle me and you demean me, and like, yeah, you don't treat me like an equal. You know how much that would have hurt my feelings to hear for somebody to be like, oh, you don't treat me like you treat me like I'm beneath you. Like, whatever. I would have been like, oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Like, that's horrible. I would hate that. Instead, Hannah responds,
we're not equal.
You'll be treated like an equal when you contribute like one.
You don't have a job.
I said,
you don't have a. She doesn't have a job. She's not contributing like an equal. At what point do we start saying like, yo, money isn't everything, and for you to assume that it is, it doesn't bode well for you. That's a bad look for you.
Mm-hmm. It's because she knows she don't have nothing else to offer.
Yeah.
She don't have a good personality.
She doesn't have a good personality.
And you know what? Her villain arc was so crazy because when she was in the pods, we kind of liked her.
Yeah.
Like, I remember you being like, oh, like, she's
nice,
she's fun. Like, yeah, like, this is cool. And I was like, yeah. Little did we know.
Yeah, she was a little asshole.
She was about to fucking show us some whole new shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fucking. And then at the reunion, for her to come in and she's trying to bring him down by any means because she's getting eaten up on the internet. Yeah,
because the internet is just, everybody can see through it.
Everybody can see through it.
Look at it. And I do think she's a bad person.
I do. No, yeah. I'm like, and I really be trying not to make character judgment calls based on an edited television show with people who I've never met and probably will never meet.
Right.
And yet, when you see abuse, you know it. You know, you're like, but that. Yeah. But I'm looking at right now.
If somebody makes you feel that way, you can not deal with them. You know, you could like, for whatever reason, she feels as though, or from what we're observing, she feels as though she has to demean this person and teach them a lesson, even though they've already learned those lessons, and assume that they need a lesson taught to them.
Like, you're punitive. Like, you are trying to teach. Yeah, like, who are you to fucking teach this man? Me? You don't know him.
You don't know me.
You don't know him.
You don't know anything about me.
Right.
And again, going back to the whole thing where it's just like, stop pretending like you guys have known each other for so long. You've known each other for 2 weeks. And I'm saying 2 weeks as like a catch-all for however long or short.
A month, I don't give a fuck. If it was 2 months, that would be no time.
It's less than a year.
It needs to be easily. Less than 6 months, less than half a year, less than a quarter, I feel. But
You haven't taught me anything.
You haven't taught me shit, babe. Right. Only thing you taught me was shame.
Yeah.
You're trying to make me feel ashamed, and I do it. Now my voice is quivering when I'm fucking trying to convince you about some shit.
Exactly.
Because you don't have humanity.
Yeah. And so, with all that, I do feel like that brings, like, that's what bad people do, is they try to shame you and put you down to a level and embarrass you to where you feel so small that they can then like stand on your shoulders, essentially.
Facts. And okay, let's talk about Hannah bringing up the fact that Nick allegedly called her a grenade to the guys. Yeah. And said she was a 5 out of 10. Yeah. My thing with that is, are you not allowed to be honest to your friends? Yeah. Like, if he did say all that, which he's claiming he did not say, he's saying that he said to them he felt underwhelmed.
I heard her.
When seeing her. Yeah, like he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. But Hannah said that shit to the cameras about Nick. Yeah. Nick didn't say that shit to the cameras about Hannah.
She listed all of the things.
She said he oversold himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Appearance-wise. She's like, he's shorter than he said. He said he looked like X celebrity. He looks nothing like. He said he looked better than X celebrity. He does not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, all of this stuff. She said that he wasn't like sexually gratifying or something like that.
She talked about his performance in bed after he specifically asked for sex not to be talked about on camera because he said that he has a brand back home, whatever that means.
I think it's just his parents and him being on.
Right, he just has right.
Like, and also, like, if you are a real estate agent, the way that you're perceived is pretty important.
That's super fair.
If I saw you and you're like, oh, this person who's on Love is Blind told me how that's sick. But then also, this person that was on Love is Blind that can't be can't satisfy a woman.
That's what you know. Everybody is thinking when you're trying to sell them a house.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this man, his weak stroke game or something.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about abuse or somebody being, like some type of emotional or verbal abusive, I feel like you can pretty much one-to-one that.
This one is one-to-one. This one, with abuse.
With abuse. I'm happy to switch the role. So again, if it was a man, I'm not even saying it's abusive to talk about somebody's sexual performance. Mm-hmm. I just think it's tacky and gross. But if a man did that, you know how unacceptable that would be?
It would be wild. I think that they would have gotten kicked off of the show.
She would be, and Vanessa would have ate him the fuck up at the reunion.
Right.
And he said, I'm not, it didn't do much for me. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't give like that.
Mm-hmm. That's so wild. Like,
she can't make me come.
Right. So I gotta go to the bathroom.
Like, what?
Yeah, and then y'all are still together, and then
now the whole world just is like, oh, there's that cumless girl.
Yeah.
And her.
Right.
And her husband.
And then she just gets to lean on the cumless girl. She gets to lean on the fact that she gets to lean on the title or hide behind the title of boss bitch, basically. Or she's like, I don't know, I'm just bitchy. It was like that's what I am, Right. And it's just like, nah, man, you're a bad person. You're cruel.
You're abusive.
Yeah.
You're a bad person. Bitchy is too cute.
Yeah.
I like to be called bitchy. Sometimes. Depending on the circumstances.
No.
If somebody called me cruel,
you're
or abusive,
she was absolutely.
I would cry. I'd be like, "Oh my god, you think I'm cruel?"
Yeah, I think
no one's ever called me cruel. People have definitely called me bitchy. Those are different things.
Yeah, and I feel like that type of person feels as though they're being funny and cute whenever they're being like that type of.
It's like a bit.
It's a bit.
It's like a bit.
It's a bit. But then you run into somebody that can genuinely, I don't know, like you run into somebody that can genuinely hurt your feelings. And then you realize what you're doing. Where it's just like, oh, that's the energy you're coming into this conversation with. Okay, cool. Bet I'm gonna bring it back twofold. Right. And let's see how you deal with it.
Oh, while we're talking about Hannah at the fucking reunion, just doubling down, being horrible. She's rightfully continuing to get dragged on the internet. People.
Good. I'm so happy.
I can't wait for people
who
know her in real life, who have had encounters with her in real life, to start coming out.
Yeah.
Because I know they are. I know people are going to come out and be like, yeah, Hannah used to actually call me a nigger repeatedly.
Yeah, right.
And fucking, I promise you, right. In middle school.
Yeah.
That's definitely what's coming next. If she ever spoke to a black person in her life.
I doubt it.
She doesn't give me that. She doesn't give me that she's ever spoken to a black person, for real. Because you would be more...
Well, Marissa is her best friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Marissa. That's where I was going with this next. Yeah. Marissa, we really were rooting for you, Marissa.
Yeah.
And then you went ahead on the reunion.
And
put it all on the line for Hannah, the cruel, abusive bitch.
No, not even
bitch. Just cruel and abusive Hannah.
Yeah, bitch is too nice.
Too nice, too sweet, too cute.
Yeah.
It was nothing cute about Hannah's behavior.
It's too colloquial.
Way too colloquial.
No,
way too in the cultural zeitgeist used all the time.
Let's use the actual word.
Abusive.
You are abusive.
Cruel.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're abusive and you like to be, she was like weirdly physically imposing on herself onto him.
But Marissa, during the season, when Ramses broke up with her, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I was fucking devastated.
You were devastated?
That was so sad.
It was hard to watch.
It was hard to watch because it was it was a man realizing that somebody wasn't right for him after, again, because you guys have only been dating for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then someone seeing the finish line and then having the finish line be moved, 2 years down the line to when she actually finds somebody that appreciates her.
No, that's super fair. You know what I didn't like about the Ramses situation? Obviously, I thought Ramses was weird about the sexual thing. Marissa didn't feel like being touched. Didn't feel like
I want to believe him with the where he was just like it was a lot longer.
Okay. Oh, he said that.
Yeah.
Oh, he said it was a lot longer conversation, not a lot longer of a time that she didn't want to be touched.
No,
longer conversation.
The conversation was like way longer and like way more nuanced and whatnot.
I'm sure. Okay, and they like kind of cut it to make it look similar to the conversation from previous season with that other couple that had the same fucking conversation. So that makes sense. But aside from the sexual thing, which I do think is weird, otherwise, I think the entire point of Love is Blind is you go into the pods, right? You find somebody that you think that you can be with. The reason why they don't have you get married sight unseen is because they know that certain things could change that decision, right? So you've had all this time talking to this person. You're like, oh, I like them. Like, I really fucking like them. But you have not lived together. That's why they have you all live together before you walk down the aisle. And you have not seen each other. That's why they have you see each other before you walk down the aisle, right? So he got to phase 3, them living together, and said,
this is tough. Because he knows, so him calling it off and him making that decision while being someone who has been married, you really, really do have to just trust that decision. Because he knows the ins and outs of a marriage and he knows the ins and outs of himself in a marriage. So he's like, oh, these are like, you've hit 4 out of 5 boxes that are like non-negotiables for me, and that 5th box that is unchecked
is a non-negotiable. That's what a non-negotiable is.
I can't do it.
I can't do it,
and I know that I can't do it. All I'm going to be doing is just convincing myself that I can, but I can't.
Right. And my whole thing is, even if you don't respect Ramses and you don't respect this decision. If he knew something about himself, or you didn't respect the reason behind it, because he said that he felt like she was too much. That was his reason. Yeah, I felt like she was too much. Even if you don't respect that reason, that's enough for him not to fucking marry her, or for them not to get married. It's saving a lot of heartache down the line because he knows that it's not going to work, right? Yeah. So, well, I just don't know what he could have done differently.
He couldn't have done anything different.
I really don't know what he could have done differently. Even the sexual shit, as weird as it is, if that didn't work for him.
It didn't work for him.
It just didn't work. He was forthcoming about that instead of cheating or being weird on some stuff and shit. You know?
A lot of people are just weird. Like, a lot of people will take this opportunity to be weird and to not communicate and not be real with themselves. And so for him to absolutely just say, here are things that I just can't do and want to do. And I'm telling you this. And then I'm telling you exactly who I am at all times. And exactly what I need at all times. And then hitting that like threshold of just being like, no, this is enough. What about that can be differently?
Can be what about villainized, this? Right? Like, what could he have done differently? What could he have done differently? He thought he liked her up until that point, and then he didn't.
What the fuck would y'all do? Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, everybody that's turning him into the villain is like, what would you do in that situation? If you saw 4 out of the 5 things that you need in somebody, and that 5th thing that you need is not there,
not want, but need,
and you know that's going to then like, I can't think of a metaphor for quick enough, but it's just insane for people to walk down this road, see that the road is blocked, and then say, it's not blocked, I can still marry it. I can still marry and jump over this. I can jump over this unscalable issue.
I
gotta go back.
And if that makes me the villain, I don't know that I would call Ramses a villain in the way that everybody else is calling him Ramses. Like, people are on here comparing him to like SK. And you remember SK?
What SK was?
SK, he was marrying Raven, and then it came out that he had like a whole girlfriend. He had like taken a trip. Him and Raven like lived together or something in Texas. He was supposed to be going to school in Berkeley or something. He had like taken a trip only to find out he'd actually gone to like Mexico with another
Yes.
girl. Like, it was like a whole bunch of just like a whole bunch of shit.
He was an engineer or something like that.
Yes, or like something. He was a student. Yeah, something like that. As they put Ramses on the same as SK and 80. No. And I will say, I was naive about not 80, Clay. Right. I was naive about Clay because Clay has been making a bunch of content about Love is Blind this season. And I've been watching every video and I'm like, you had me fooled. I'm fucking stupid. And you weren't fooled. You kept being like, He's not good. He's not a good
he's not
person.
even good
And I was like, no,
he's not
I
a good
really
actor.
think he's trying.
No.
Like, no, I really think so. And his true colors are coming right the fuck out as I watch him make all video after video about this. And every take is like kind of right, but weirdly misogynistic and like.
Yeah. He was the one that was like and that going back to Nick versus like Clay would be the better example of somebody trying to get on from the show.
Okay.
Trying to be the most famous person on the show.
He addressed that too. Clay made a video talking about, and y'all keep talking about I was trying to get clout from the show. Y'all must not know who I am. Correct. Yeah. That's why you were trying to get clout from the show, because we don't know who you are.
We know who you are now.
Right, exactly. He's talking about I have been on TV a bunch of times.
No,
I have a USA medal from when I played football or some shit. And like,
for you.
We still didn't know.
Yeah.
Until now.
Right. He was very performative, very much like like an athlete being interviewed the entire show. He was just like very like, what's going on? Oh, I didn't know anything about that.
I'm naive.
I'm trying to get you fit and whatnot, and I'm like, this and he's clearly acting. He's clearly an actor. I don't know if he was trying to get on from the show.
Right, but he was acting. Yeah. So they trying to put Ramses in the same.
No.
And I'm like, why? Because Ramses broke up with her?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like, what is
Nobody
it?
likes to see anybody break up.
Right, and I will say that was
one
was a really hard one to watch. When we were watching it, I was like, watching through my fingers. I was like, I really don't think I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, I fear we might have to fast forward. And Garrick was like, okay, like, we can fast forward. And I was like, no, I feel like we have to watch it. But, like,
yeah,
this is aggressively painful to watch. Like, I'm crawling out of my skin type shit.
That was hard.
It was really, really bad.
Because it did seem like they were both upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how people were watching it and being like, wow, I can't believe he would do this. It was like an adult telling a child, hey, this isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to disappoint somebody.
We can't. I'm so sorry that I'm disappointing you.
Right,
Yeah.
I know.
But if it's like an adult and their child being like, we can't get food today, or we can't stop at McDonald's,
mm-hmm.
and you're trying to hide the fact that it's because we don't have enough money right now.
Oh.
And it's just like, it's I'm not going to tell this child that's
the
what
reason,
it is.
right?
And the only reason why I'm not saying like he's more mature than she is,
mm-hmm.
but he does know, he is more knowledgeable of what it takes to maintain a marriage.
That's fair, because he's been married.
Yeah, he's been married, so he's
35. That man was like older than I thought he was.
He's older. Which how she was like 30.
I think she was 32. 30. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was 32.
Yeah. So like with all of that, he's coming from a place of experience, and she's coming from a place of just like pure feeling and longing and whatnot. Yeah. And so him having to make that call and pull the plug for both of their sakes
mm-hmm.
is tough to watch. But
mm-hmm.
for people to then villainize him for making the smart decision is just so unfair.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think he deserves the villain arc that he is getting right now. That is probably my hottest take mm-hmm. from all of this. And then we have, is it Steven or Stefan?
Steven.
Okay, and then we have Steven.
Steven was a talker, man. Steven was a smooth talker.
Oh, before we move on to Steven, you said Marissa was a talk. You said she was chatty.
Oh yeah, she was definitely chatty.
Yeah,
she was definitely like too much for him in the chipper sense.
And you said she would have been too much for you.
Yes.
Like you can't deal with it.
I can't deal with a yapper.
A yapper.
I can't deal with a yapper.
LOL, as you're about to marry somebody with a podcast.
You're not a yapper. You're not a yapper. I'm talking about like,
yes,
I cannot get a word in.
Yes.
Type of yapper.
Mm-hmm. Like a golden retriever type.
Like a golden retriever.
I'm a black cat yapper.
Yes.
That's different. Than a golden retriever.
Sure, I didn't know that was a thing.
I just made that up.
Yeah, you did. So we got Steven.
Okay, so we got Steven. You said Steven is a yapper too.
No, Steven is somebody who knows what to say.
Okay, he be saying the right.
I think he's
right stuff.
Go up to his age. How old is
34.
34.
Electrician.
Yes. Yeah.
They're whores, I think.
Okay.
I think an electrician is a whore.
Yeah.
Always in somebody's house. Like you the plumber fixing somebody's pipes.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I look stupid.
Yeah, you think I'm dumb?
You think I'm fucking stupid?
Oh, power electrician.
That's crazy, right? Steven was a red flag in the pods.
Yeah.
Voting for Trump.
He was a Trump boy.
Talking about he voted for Trump the first time.
Yeah. All right. I'll always say this. They were conned and tricked. It's the second time where I'm just like, ooh, you are
actively bad. The first time you were like, oh, they were trying to drain the swamp. Like this is somebody who came out like a little bit of an outsider.
Because like the more that you think about it, it's just like it's Trump versus Hillary, and you're like, okay, my house and all of my neighbors' homes are being foreclosed on. Mm-hmm. I blame the government for all of this stuff and all of the spikes and whatnot. Mm-hmm. What am I going to vote for that can change anything? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what's happening to my society. Mm-hmm. I need some form of change, either the most aggressive change or literally the wife of somebody that was already a president. Mm-hmm. So I get that angle. I still think you're dumb and a bad person or whatever, but I do think that there's a level of empathy that needs to be shown for those first time. Okay. Before it's just like it's just that first time I just didn't know what else to do. It's just like I don't know. I don't know. The equivalent of instead of Raisin Bran, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna try Lucky Charms this time. Yeah, it's just like
that's quite the departure.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, they don't need empathy from both of us. 50% of the empathy is good, so I'm happy to let you provide that.
There you go.
And for me, I would just never, as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the way that Monica, she doesn't appear to identify as a Black woman specifically to me. In the pod, she talks about being like Nicaraguan and like, she said that she was mixed with a lot of different things. When I look at Monica, I simply see a Black woman, but okay. Maybe that's why she didn't see Steven as such a red flag. But as a Black woman, there's no times you can tell me that you voted for Trump. I don't care if you voted for him in 1997 when he was not running for president. There's no time that you can tell me you voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That I'm going to be okay with. Not with being in a relationship with you.
Yeah, no.
Marriage? No. That is so fucking
There's some level of like discernment that you thought you really just
you didn't practice it. Monica just didn't practice that discernment, and that was kind of crazy to me. And then for him to call her a mutt when she did describe her racial makeup or whatever, he was like, so you're a mutt. She overlooked every single red flag in the pods.
Yeah.
Like, I would have never ended up with Steven if I was her in the first place. And then him talking about he found out he was 156 Black. And I'm like,
I will say, like, him and like Blake Griffin look like the same level of Black. And Blake Griffin is half
similar.
Black.
They do look close. They look close with Blake Griffin. I would guess that Blake Griffin was Black, and I wouldn't guess that this guy was Black. But if you told me that he was Black, I'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
Right, but Blake Griffin, I would guess it myself.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's a nigga. I see him.
Yeah.
Like, I know a nigga when I see it. Yeah.
I see it in there.
They seem like they're doing fine, right? In fact, you're like, we're watching, you keep being like, I like them. Like, wow. Like, I really like these people. Like, these two seem fun, right? Mm-hmm. They're on the couch. They having some weird, slightly contentious, kind of flirty banter.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, he kept on like forcing the conversation.
Like a little bit, it was getting weird.
And it was just like she's definitely trying to get away from this, man.
Yeah, she keeps trying to escape, and you keep bringing. Now she's bringing back up in a funny way that you keep bringing back up, and you're like actually trying to hold on to the conversation. It's getting like fucking weird.
Yeah, I think he has a sex addiction.
You think he has a sex addiction?
Yeah.
Or yes, that I think he could have a sex addiction. I think he could have been trying to test the waters for if she was going to be down for that kink. Because remember, they were talking about him accidentally slipping into her butt or something? Remember? What? That was the conversation that was taking place on the couch. It was like about, like, I think he like either put a finger in her butt or like something about her butt. And she said, I'm saving my butt for my husband. Remember?
Yeah.
It was something about anal.
Yeah.
I think he was like just trying to test the waters to see how kinky she could get. Since he was into like whatever he was into.
He was into some weird shit.
He was into something weird.
And I think that he wanted
not to yuck anybody's young.
Right.
Into the stuff he was
right. Like it's not. I shouldn't say weird
that's
shit.
Fine.
Yeah, go for
it. For
you. He was into stuff that she wasn't
into.
And that and he was trying to like in a weird way
coerce her into it.
Yeah.
It was like weird.
Her
yeah, it was
like thinking that this is okay and this is cool and we should do this and it's gonna make me happy.
It was getting yucky a little bit.
It was
getting kind of yucky to watch. And it was like, okay, but she didn't seem particularly uncomfortable or like she felt threatened. Like that wasn't the vibe I was getting from her. So I'm like, okay, hey, if she can deal with it, Monica, you got it. Yeah. Cut to Netflix dropping us in the middle of their fucking fight. Yeah. Where was the cameras?
Yeah.
When the fight started, where was the cameras? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Netflix dropping us into the middle of the fight, and she's upset because she has found text messages in his phone. He's supposed to be at the sleep study. Turns out he was at the sleep study allegedly. We have photos from him getting sleep study.
Yeah. That makes sense that he would be at a sleep study for, because he just got let go. His foreman just fired him for being an electrician.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
She was like covering him and covering like certain bills.
Oh, she was covering for certain. Oh my God. And that was such an iconic moment when they were breaking up. And she says, and in fact, take out your phone and Venmo me right now. Since I don't feel comfortable, since I've been covering you these little times.
Yeah.
Run me that.
Yeah.
She said, I would like to see my phone light up with the memo notification expeditiously. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm waiting.
That was crazy. That
was very me coming. That was so me. Obviously, she's a Gemini, so.
Okay.
You know.
Anyway.
But yeah, so she finds text messages on his phone where he's, I guess, saying just the kinkiest, putrid shit.
Yeah, he asked somebody about their kinks, and he kept like going back and forth with them. Apparently, they've been going back and forth for years on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a pick me, but I fear that on Love Is Blind, no matter how the men move, if it is short of I love this woman and I want to marry her,
absolute
villain.
Yeah.
Like
villain. Yeah.
And I'm like,
and then the woman can be absolutely abusive,
like without being called abusive. Especially at the reunion. I think this phenomenon that happens online in general. Although we are definitely holding Hannah's feet to the fire, which I fucking love. But on the reunions, Nick and Vanessa, they need to get them the fuck out of here. You know who they need to bring back? Perez Hilton. Perez Hilton used to host the Bad Girls Club's reunions. And I told you, Perez used to be putting his foot in them girls' ass.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. And obviously we know Perez is a bad person. Yeah. Or at least was.
Call people like niggas and shit?
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. But he, was bullying young girls all the time back in the blog era. He was Lindsay Lohan calling her like a fat pig and all this type of shit all the time. So we know that he was not great. Hopefully he's reformed. If so, hire Perez. Get him on here because he's not going to mince words. Nick and Vanessa, first of all, Nick, don't say shit. I don't know why he's even present. Vanessa is so incredibly biased that it blows me. It actually really fucking annoys me. You sat up there and saw how Hannah talked to Nick and was like, do you feel any, I don't want to say remorse because I don't want to put any words in your mouth. Yeah. But, I don't want to take away from the authenticity of your experience. But, how do you feel when you watch that?
She put on these kitty gloves.
You put on these fucking kitty gloves with these grown-ass women. Yeah. And offer no grace with regard to the men. I will say she didn't get in Ramses, which I thought she might. Yeah. So
I think she's afraid of black people.
As she should be. That's her best bet. Yeah. That's her best bet. Sure. Stay there.
Because she didn't say anything about Tim either.
But yeah, I think that's enough of those two.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Marissa and Steph Steven. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's enough of those two.
Monica and Steven.
Monica and Steven. So I started off the season with similar feelings about Alex as I ended with Hannah. I thought Alex was mean.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was, like, kind of rude, and like I didn't like the way that she talked to Tim.
Yeah.
But as it progressed,
yeah,
I said, "Oh, Tim." Alex never got into like an abusive, weird territory to me.
Yeah.
It was just always kind of like a light meanness, and I'm like, I don't know that everybody likes this present in their relationship, but like some people can deal with this.
So my thing with him is that he was not able to talk about the things that he was experiencing. He could not vocalize that. And so he just let it pile up and stack up. And so like he would blurt out or like have outbursts in situations because he was just like, okay, well, now I'm sick of this. Like as soon as he saw her apartment and he saw how dirty it was, and then you saw his apartment and how clean it was, like immediately he should have just been like, yeah, actually, I don't think I can do this. Because
that is like a big disparity, right?
It's a huge disparity.
Yeah.
That is, you're now bringing somebody into your life that is going to maybe cause this amount of, like, going against the, what? What?
Do I stress you out with how dirty?
No,
with how messy I am?
No, I'm getting it. I'm getting to it. Yeah. But, like, because he comes from a military family. When you are from a military family, if you don't like take a toothbrush and like scrub out the
base of the toilet,
and all that shit, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
As a grown man with that foundation, to then see somebody else now bringing in that same energy to your space and your home as you guys get married. You're going to be confused as to how somebody could live this way.
Right.
And you're not even going to be able to deal with it in the same way that your military parent was dealing with it for you as a child.
Right, because you're seeing it as a character flaw because it's so ingrained in you. It's more than just like a little like inconvenience, something that makes you a little uncomfortable. It's like, this literally like cleanliness is next to godliness in a military family. Like this is goodness. To be clean is to be good. Is to be whole is to be holy. And to be dirty is to be bad. It's a character flaw. It's like, and when he walked into Alex's house for the first time and all the clothes were strewn everywhere.
Yeah.
That was very me coded. I was telling Garrick as we were watching, I'm like, yeah, if I was leaving to go somewhere for like some weeks, there's no world in which I leave and my house does not look like that. Like my house would definitely look exactly like that. To the point where I actually got shocked that I had never seen anybody's house look like that before on Love is Blind. I'm like, oh, can your average person like clean up? Like after, like you can be preparing to go somewhere for like a month and like a lot of time to like.
When I went to Atlanta, it was not like that. My apartment was
but you're not a girl.
Yeah.
You don't have, all you packing is clothes and toiletries. You ain't got no hair products, you ain't got no makeup, you don't have no,
I think that the only other thing is makeup.
No, it's hair and it's makeup.
I think it's just like...
And it's like outfits. Outfits are easy for men. You got pants and tops. That's it.
And then for y'all, there's
it's like dresses. Skirt. You got to make sure all the shit works together. So you putting on outfits, taking it off.
The fact that y'all don't have your own outfit, like, know the outfits that work before putting that shit on.
I don't have that. I know that some women do. I don't. I got to put it on my body. I can't imagine it. I can't go based on what silhouettes have worked previous. I can't do nothing like that. I had to put it on my body because those small little details that change between outfits, it'll make or break the whole shit.
And that's on you. That's not, don't do the blanket statement of men, women.
It might be on me. All I can say is there's no world in which I can go somewhere for a month.
Yeah.
And my house definitely is gonna look like that. So if that was gonna be an issue for Tim, understandable, I guess. That's fine.
It was going to be an issue for Tim, but Tim didn't say that. There were like what I'm saying is that there are like a lot of like those small things, like her talking to him crazy, like her like being mean to him.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to seem as though he didn't say anything about it. He didn't want to seem soft. He wanted to be in love with somebody who, you know, who he feels like is also very family oriented. And he's just like, all right, this might be something that is acceptable for me. But he let it get to him. He let it do all of this, like, you know, emotional damage to him without saying it. And so when there is this breakup, there's a lot of animosity that comes out that he didn't express previously. He buried it. But because he's consistently saying to himself, look at all the things that she's getting wrong, that blah, 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 that she doesn't, that I haven't brought up. Yep. That I've accepted.
She's not passing. She's not passing. Nope.
Yep. She's not passing this. Fail. And then she falls asleep.
That's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, and then he's just gonna be like, she fell asleep. And then for her, like, she's gonna, of course, feel like all of this shit came out of nowhere because he didn't say anything. Right. You know, you were like, she kind of said it in a reunion where she said, I feel like you were looking for any reason. And he should have just been listing the reasons as they went on, as they were actually dating. Exactly. And then this wouldn't have seemed like such a shock and such a surprise. It's almost like the opposite of Ramses. Ramses was the only good dude on this show that wasn't that like didn't finish it. Yeah. Where he was like, yeah, the hero. Even though it's like there's just one thing that's not going to work for me, it'll like spread and like damage all the other 4 things that were great and did work for me. With Tim, he's just like, yeah, there's so many things that don't work for me, but there's this one thing that is just so strong, which is like the family oriented, and I like your family, you like my family. That side of things that is just so important to him that it kind of like just blinded the rest of everything else so that he didn't even bring it up. Yeah. Somebody on TikTok said that he was trying to replace his sisters. He was trying to give his parents a daughter. Another daughter. Yeah. Said, oof. Yeah. And that's tough. He probably feels a lot of stress to be in a relationship. Right? He probably feels a lot of stress to be in a relationship. Right? And he probably also just misses his sisters. Definitely. He wants that energy back. Definitely. That said, I do feel like Tim had the propensity to be maybe some level of abusive down the line. I don't know that I laid eyes on abuse when watching the thing, but something about him, and this is all speculation, I don't really have any real reason for this. Something about Tim does not sit right with my spirit. I'm like, nah, you're dangerous. There's a danger here. You're creepy and like sociopathic to me. Him smiling and giggling in the reunion when she's like trying to explain herself and like really getting frustrated and but also the smile and the giggle is like, have you not like watched Divorce Court or any of those shows? Have, but it's such a departure from the Tim that we saw on the show, who was so buttoned up and so uptight and like could damn near not giggle, couldn't laugh damn near. I'm like, oh, the only time you find joy is when somebody else is suffering on your behalf is what I took away. That's a reach. There's no reason for me that's what I took away from Tim. I don't know if it's that deep. I feel like it was more so him just being like, this is so ridiculous. Like a nervous laugh of like, I cannot believe that this is happening. But the hate in his eyes. I was like, like his whole face just looks different. I'm like, he definitely really didn't like her. Yeah, like he really didn't like her. And she even mentioned at the beginning. It was the disrespect because of how family oriented he is. It is the perceived disrespect of his family that turned him into that person. Like it was all post that where he's just like, nah, I don't fuck with you at all. And so I feel like it's not warranted. Yeah, I do still think that he could have been dangerous. I do still think that he could have like slipped or something like that, because this is, I feel like, has somebody who was in the military and has a 1,000-yard stare and all of that stuff. So like maybe they're like violent or maybe they could snap.
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't want to put that on him, but
yeah.
It's just it was after his family was slighted that he started to act like that, and that to me reads more as done than I need to hurt you type of thing, or I'm dangerous or I'm scary. He was just so over it, and so like, this is insane that that I have to ask for respect from somebody that doesn't clean their room.
Okay. I see how you arrived there.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I could read from them, in my, professional, therapist opinion, is that they're both avoidant.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I feel like,
those never work.
That would never fucking work, one. But I think men are usually avoidant in relationships. Mm-hmm. That's just like, the way the society teaches men to be is like more on the avoidant side, and women generally tend to be more on the anxious side. And so I think when men encounter an avoidant woman,
yeah, they lose their minds.
They lose their fucking minds, because they're like,
why don't you like me?
Oh, you're not pressed? Like, okay, bitch, like, what the fuck? I can't get a rise out of you. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like.
And although I hear what you mean, and I hear what you're saying about that. Like, with him, I feel like he's been through so much trauma that all he was looking for was a wife. That's fair. And almost as to,
that's fair,
demean his intelligence, or like, not intelligence, but his ambition. He was a simple guy.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt like he just wanted to have a family and to go to work, come home to his family, so on and so forth. And he was the one that was actually taking the experiment as seriously as he could have.
No, that's really real. I think he did come in with the intention of having a wife.
Yeah.
I don't think that he came in with the understanding that his wife would be a person.
Oh,
and
yeah.
not
a title.
Wife. And not just like,
yeah, this is the place that you go to get a wife.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want a wife? You want a factory setting? Go there.
That's fair.
Grab a wife and get out. Like, no, she's gonna be a person with her own baggage and her own little quirks and stuff that you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
And he didn't have much tolerance.
Right.
Was my read for a person. He did not have much tolerance for a fucking person.
That's fair.
And that could come from trauma, like,
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, and he's been through a lot. Both his sisters dying and all that. And being in the military, I'm sure that didn't help. But yeah, I read on Tim that he didn't expect to have to deal with the emotions of a human being. And then on top of that, she had the audacity to be like an avoidant one, which is usually reserved for the men. And if two avoidant people are avoidant, they're just like,
okay.
It's like this like little song and dance of like, nobody's actually coming to meet the other person anywhere. It's just kind of like, a little advance forward, I'm moving back. And it's like, well, another little advance forward, now they're moving back. And it's like, you never actually feel this void here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like they ever got to know each other
at
that
all.
well. You know? That's the thing. Like, it was like, oh yeah, that's husband and that's wife. And like, that's it. Both of them. I'm like.
They were just going to be a title.
Right. Right. I'm like, y'all are weird.
That's man. That's woman.
Right. You man, me woman type shit.
Yeah. Weird. Creepy.
Weird. Yeah, didn't like him. Grew to like Alex. Especially, I actually started liking her. She is what we thought Hannah was doing. Remember, we were like, oh, Hannah might have a nervous tick and that's why she's acting like that? No. No. Hannah was bad. Alex, because her personality seemed to have shifted so severely from like the first couple episodes through the end, I'm like, oh, I do think she was like nervous in the beginning, and that's why she was being a little bitchy, actually bitchy, not cruel, not, abusive, but like bitchy. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I think she was defensive and like cameras around, like it's like a nerves thing is my read on Alex. So I started liking her after that. I think the last couple we have is Ashley and Tyler. I'm sure y'all all know by now, but the whole story is Tyler alleges he was a sperm donor for his best friend who is a lesbian and was dating a woman at the time. Yeah. And she and the woman wanted to start a family. And so Tyler donated sperm in order to help them start a family.
Well,
they have 3 children.
He did the first time.
They have 3 children, 2 sets of pregnancies for them children. So the first one is a solo child, single child, born through sperm donation via Tyler. Yes, I mean allegedly. And the next 2 are twins, conceived naturally, according to the baby mom.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a reverse, but I bet that the
you might be right. Okay, yeah, you might be right.
I mean,
you might be right. I don't know.
Either
really way, at
matter.
some point,
yeah, he
put his dick in her.
Yeah,
and
he put his meats in the cheeses.
He did something. He shot up the club and there was a child. So there were some children that was conceived naturally,
but like even with sperm donation, and then you're in the child's life, like that kid has no way of thinking, differentiating. Oh, this guy is my sperm donor.
Like, this is my dad. I actually look like him, probably.
Yeah,
you know, like, oh, this is actually my dad. This is actually my dad. This is not my stepdad. This is not my adopted dad. This is actually the man whose DNA that I have, and he's in my life. There's no differentiating that from, you know, a child who was conceived naturally. Right. And the dad is in the life. Yeah.
And so, for him to lie about that.
Child.
Yeah. For him to lie about that and then also just leave his family high and dry is like pretty awful. But that part aside, to come into the pods and then explain that to your potential partner is hefty and difficult, and it is something that you probably would also avoid if you were like, oh, I've never seen you, I don't talk to you, or I've been talking to you for like 2 weeks, 1 week. I need to tell you that, my entire backstory. I was a sperm donor for my friend. They had twins. Her wife divorced her. I didn't like seeing that these 2 kids were going to be raised by without a parent,
without a dad.
So
because I was raised without a dad.
I was raised without a dad, so I stepped in. I helped out. My friend and I, one night conceived naturally or whatever, and now I have 3 kids.
See, and this is why some women don't believe in actual intergender friendships. This is why some women be like, no, you cannot have female friends. Like, I don't care if she's a lesbian. I don't care about none of that. Like, no. See how y'all be making us look bad? The ones of us who actually have very platonic intergender relationships with people. Now we all look crazy.
Now it's all weird.
Now everybody look crazy because you then had sex with somebody who's not even supposed to like men.
Yeah, she don't even like niggas.
She's not even supposed to like men.
She don't like niggas at all. And she's over here like, all right, let's get this thing.
Now the rest of us look crazy. But yes, Tyler looks crazy. And the fact that he's not addressing directly everything that baby mom said is the problem. Yeah. That's very much a problem. On the reunion, they addressed a little bit of it. They're like, yeah, no, I didn't want to, there was other people involved. And so I didn't want to, come out and say X, Y, Z. But now that lady then came out herself and said X, Y, Z and said that you have not seen your kids in over a year.
Yeah, and you owe me money.
And you owe me money. How do you compensate for that? What do you have to say about that? Actually, what do you have to say about that? That he ain't seen his kids in over a year, so you know them damn kids exist. Yeah. He ain't, has he seen them or not? The baby mama here lying? Because that feels like that would put strain on their current relationship if he has in fact seen the kids. So I doubt that she's on here lying about it. If he is seeing the kids.
I think there's also a lot that's going on behind closed doors, because she seemed very upset about him bringing up sperm donation and having 3 kids. Yep. And then at the reunion, she seemed very okay with not, very, very aside from her personality or the personality that she has shown thus far, as well as we know her. Yeah, it just seems so different from what we've seen. and not the way that the Ashley we know would react to like seeing that TikTok, because that TikTok would have been out.
That's fair. Yeah, I know
So,
that's super fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel like there might be some stuff maybe that they talked about. Maybe there was stuff that they talked about during the season that they cut out, that he like already told her about.
They said that. They said that on the
it was like I already knew about this.
I had already told her. We didn't have the conversation on camera, but she felt like they needed to say something on camera.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
And so that's what they said. And that's what they went with.
Yeah. Even that guy. That's weird. It has holes. Like
I don't know, man. They seem happy.
I guess so.
Go see your kids.
Whatever. Go see your fucking kids. You're abandoning children, and Ashley is complicit in abandonment.
Yeah.
Right now is what it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole story. I don't know, but that's what it looks like right now. I think that's it. I think that's everybody.
Yeah,
I think we got to everybody. Hannah.
Everybody.
Brittany. But yeah.
Yeah, Brittany was there.
She was there. I liked her. I thought she was cool.
I thought she was
straightforward. Sure. I'm not mad at Baffert, but any final thoughts?
Next season.
Who's your favorite from this season?
My favorite from the season?
Yeah.
None of them. I didn't like any of them.
I actually don't think I liked anybody this season. I think this is like the first season I'm like...
Yeah,
I did like Brittany, but like she wasn't on it like that, Weird season. That's it. Garrick, tell the folks where to find you on the internet.
At Garrick Bernard on all of the things.
Per usual, you can find me at BPLP Pod across all social media platforms. You can watch the podcast on YouTube. You can also now watch it on Spotify if you have video there. Oh, I didn't say the whole 5 stars only, 5-star bitches.
Oh yeah, you gotta say that.
5 stars only, 5-star bitches. If you're gonna go ahead and rate and review, you can do that on Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. That's it. You can email me at blackpeopleofparamore@gmail.com with recommendations or anything else. I'm not sure what's going on with Garrick if you're watching this on YouTube right now. But goodbye.